chosen ones. If you are listening to this, then you know deep in your spirit that you were never like the rest. You have carried something inside of you that the world could not understand, and at times, even you could not fully explain. From your earliest memories, you felt the weight of difference, the way people looked at you, the way certain rooms felt too heavy for your spirit, the way silence seemed to whisper truths to you that others could not hear. You wondered why? Why me? Why can't I just blend in? Why can't I just be ordinary? And yet you never could. You were marked, set apart. And because of that, life has not been easy. There is a loneliness that has followed you, not the kind that comes simply from being alone, but the deep ache of being unseen, misunderstood, and misjudged. You could be surrounded by a crowd, yet feel like a foreigner in the land of your own people. You could be celebrated by others, yet still feel that no one truly knows your heart. Chosen ones, this loneliness is not an accident. It is not punishment. It is not rejection from the divine. It is, in fact, the very evidence that you have been handpicked for something greater. Heaven does not choose casually. When God sets his eyes on someone to carry a mission, he sets them apart. He draws them away from the noise, from the distractions, from the patterns of this world. And in that drawing away, there is a cost. The cost is the breaking. The cost is the solitude. The cost is the misunderstandings, the betrayals, the nights where you cried out and wondered if anyone would ever truly love you for who you are. That pain you carry is not random. It is prophetic. If you have always felt different, if your story has been marked by isolation, heartbreak, and rejection, listen closely. This is not a coincidence. This is a sign that heaven has placed a calling on your life so heavy, so radiant, that the world could not contain it. The loneliness you feel is not emptiness. It is sacred space, a sanctuary being carved within you so that the Spirit of God can dwell without distraction. In this video, you will understand why chosen ones are so often lonely and broken. You will see that what looked like abandonment was actually divine positioning. What looked like failure was hidden training. What looked like the end of you was only the beginning of the true you. Your brokenness has never disqualified you. It has prepared you. Your loneliness has not destroyed you. It has refined you. And by the end of this message, you will know in the depth of your being that you are not cursed. You are chosen. Pause for a moment and look back over your life. How many times did people turn against you without reason? How many times did you pour out love only to be met with betrayal? How many times did you give your all only to be overlooked and discarded? You thought it was because you weren't enough. You thought it was because you were flawed. But no, chosen one, it was because you carried a light too strong for their eyes to handle. They could not recognize you because you were never sent to be recognized by the world. You were sent to be known by heaven. Do you see now why certain doors never opened for you, even when you knocked until your knuckles bled? Do you see why certain friendships ended suddenly? Why certain opportunities slipped through your fingers? Why certain relationships shattered in ways you could never have predicted? It was never rejection, it was redirection. The divine hand was removing from your path what could not go with you into your destiny. The very things you thought would complete you were the very things that would have hindered you. And so heaven allowed the breaking, heaven allowed the loss, heaven allowed the solitude, because in those empty places your spirit became tuned to hear the voice of God. Chosen ones, you are not just lonely, you are being prepared in the wilderness. You are not just broken, you are being reshaped into a vessel that can carry the weight of glory. When the Israelites wandered in the desert for 40 years, it was not because God abandoned them, it was because the wilderness was necessary to strip them of Egypt's chains, to train them for the promised land. And in the same way, your loneliness is the wilderness of your soul, shaping you for something you cannot yet see. Have you ever noticed how the prophets, the kings, the disciples, all the ones God truly used, were first taken into a season of breaking and solitude. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and left in a prison before he ever stepped into the palace. David was hunted by Saul, hiding in caves, long before he wore the crown. Even Jesus himself withdrew into lonely places to pray, and he was despised and rejected before he was glorified. If the Son of God himself knew loneliness and sorrow, why would you think it strange that you, too, have been called to walk that road? There is a mystery in your pain, chosen one, a holy secret hidden in your tears. While the world looks at you and sees someone broken, heaven looks at you and sees someone being purified by fire. While others may whisper that you are too much or not enough, heaven whispers that you are exactly what is needed for this generation. So lean in now, let your spirit be still, because what you are about to hear is not just information, it is confirmation. Confirmation that the loneliness you have carried, the brokenness that has scarred your soul, has meaning far beyond what you can see. Heaven has been watching, the angels have been recording. Every tear has been caught in the bottle of God, and none of it has been wasted. Chosen one, this is your time to finally understand. This is your time to lift your head and recognize that what you thought was weakness has been your strength all along. You have been set apart, and in that setting apart, you were made to walk a path few can walk. Yes, it is painful. Yes, it is lonely. Yes, it feels like breaking. But what emerges on the other side will be nothing less than divine transformation. Stay with me now, because in this sacred conversation, the truth will unfold. You will see your own life reflected in the great tapestry of heaven's design, and you will no longer call yourself lonely or broken. You will call yourself chosen. Chosen ones, now that your spirit has been stirred awake, we must step deeper into the hidden truth that explains why your journey has felt so heavy, so misunderstood, and at times so unbearable. To understand your loneliness and your brokenness, you must see beyond the surface of your circumstances. What looks ordinary in the natural is extraordinary in the spirit. The struggle you face is not simply about people, relationships, or opportunities. It is about your very identity. From the moment you were born, you carried something within you that the world could not interpret. You were marked by heaven, and the enemy recognized that mark before you even did. This is why, as a child, you may have felt the sting of rejection. Perhaps you were the one left out on the playground, or the one your family never truly understood. Perhaps you were surrounded by people yet always felt like you were on the outside, looking in. That loneliness did not come because you were unworthy. It came because the spiritual atmosphere around you shifted wherever you went. Darkness recognizes light, and it tries to extinguish it before it fully rises. Think of Joseph in the book of Genesis. Before his dreams ever unfolded, his own brothers hated him. They conspired against him, stripped him of his coat, and sold him into slavery. Why? Because his dreams revealed he was chosen. The jealousy, the betrayal, the rejection, they were not random acts. They were spiritual responses to divine favor. And in your life, chosen one, the brokenness you have experienced often came not because you were weak, but because your very existence threatened the plans of darkness. This is the hidden truth many never see. Chosen ones walk a path of breaking because heaven is shaping them for destiny, while hell is fighting to derail them. You are caught in the tension of both realms. You are heaven's ambassador, yet you are living in a world that does not recognize you. The result? Loneliness, rejection, and seasons of brokenness that feel unbearable. But let me tell you, this loneliness has layers. On one level, it is social. Friends leave, people betray, family misunderstands. On another level, it is spiritual. Even when people are around you, your soul longs for a deeper connection that only God can provide. There are nights you cry without knowing exactly why. There are mornings you wake up with an ache in your spirit that no achievement, no relationship, no possession can soothe. That is not depression, it is divine hunger. It is the call of your soul crying out for the one who made you. And then there is the breaking. Oh, chosen ones, how many times have you felt like life shattered you into pieces? You gave everything to someone only to be betrayed. You worked faithfully in silence only to be overlooked. You built a life only to watch it crumble in an instant. You asked yourself, why does this keep happening to me? Why is my story marked by pain? But do you see? The breaking is never without purpose. The potter cannot shape the clay until it is soft. The seed cannot release life until it is buried. The oil cannot flow until the olive is crushed. And so, your life has been pressed, shaken, and broken, not to destroy you, but to release what is hidden inside of you. This is why chosen ones are often misunderstood. People look at your life and see failure, but heaven looks and sees preparation. They see loss, but heaven sees refinement. They see loneliness, but heaven sees intimacy being birthed. To the world, brokenness is weakness. But in the kingdom of God, brokenness is the gateway to glory. Remember the words of Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Do you see what this means for you? Your brokenness is the very thing that drew God closer to you. When others left, when the pain became unbearable, when the silence screamed louder than words, that is when heaven leaned in. You thought you were abandoned, but in truth, you were being held. Chosen ones, let me speak to that hidden wound in you right now. The times you felt invisible, you were not unseen. The times you were silenced, your cries were echoing in the courts of heaven. The times you felt discarded, you were being hidden until the appointed time. You are not forgotten and you are not forsaken. You are set apart, and because you are set apart, you cannot walk the same path as others. It hurts, doesn't it? To watch others move easily in relationships while yours collapse. To watch others climb ladders of success while you are stripped back to nothing. To watch others live carefree while your heart wrestles in prayer every night. It hurts because you are human, but it also reveals something divine. You are not called to ordinary comfort. You are called to extraordinary destiny. And this is the struggle of the chosen. To live in two worlds at once. To have a heart that longs for heaven while your feet walk on earth. To carry a spirit of fire while moving among those who are cold. To hear whispers of destiny while living in the silence of delay. This duality creates loneliness, and the breaking often feels unbearable. But if you listen carefully, you will hear it, the hidden truth that what you call breaking is heaven's way of making. Look back at the prophets, at the disciples, at the men and women of old. None were chosen without being broken. Moses spent 40 years in the desert. Elijah hid in caves. Hannah wept bitterly before she birthed Samuel. Paul was beaten, imprisoned, rejected. And Jesus himself, the very Son of God, was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. If those chosen by God carried such loneliness and such breaking, how much more should we expect it when heaven has marked us? So, chosen one, the issue is not that you are unloved, unworthy, or cursed. The issue is that you are carrying a divine weight. The world cannot hold it, people cannot always understand it, and sometimes even you cannot comprehend it. And so the breaking comes to expand your capacity. The loneliness comes to deepen your intimacy with God. The rejection comes to sharpen your focus. None of it is wasted. Lift your eyes now and understand what has been tearing you apart has actually been shaping you into someone new. What the enemy meant for evil, God is weaving into good. The loneliness you carry is holy. The brokenness you feel is sacred. It is the hidden truth of what it means to be chosen. Chosen ones, now that you have begun to understand the hidden truth of your loneliness and brokenness, let us go deeper into the revelations that will awaken your spirit. For what good is pain if it does not reveal its meaning? What good is struggle if it does not birth wisdom? What good is loneliness if it does not become the sacred classroom where heaven teaches you the mysteries of your calling? There are signs that mark the chosen, and if you recognize them in your life, They are not coincidences. They are confirmations, and within those signs are lessons, holy messages written in the fabric of your experience, waiting for you to finally see. One of the first signs of being chosen is that your spirit does not find rest in shallow waters. You cannot live as others live. You cannot pretend to be satisfied with what leaves them content. Others may chase money, status, or fleeting pleasures and find fulfillment, but you cannot. Something in you always whispers, there must be more. And that whisper is not condemnation, it is calling. It is the reminder that your soul was never meant to settle in the ordinary, because your destiny is extraordinary. Do you remember the prophet Jeremiah? He tried to remain silent, to live as everyone else lived, to ignore the fire burning inside of him, but he declared in Jeremiah 20:9, "His word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in. Indeed, I cannot." Chosen one, that restless fire inside of you is the same. You cannot bury it. You cannot silence it. You cannot smother it. And when you try, it only breaks you further, because your spirit cannot betray its assignment. The second sign is that doors often close on you, not because you are unworthy, but because you are being redirected. Others may glide into success, but your path is marked by detours, delays, and divine interruptions. How many times have you stood before a door that looked perfect, only for it to slam shut? How many times have you cried out, "God, why would you let me get so close, only to lose it?" But chosen ones, hear me. Rejection is often protection. The door you thought was perfect may have led to destruction. The person you begged to stay may have pulled you off course. The opportunity you thought was the breakthrough may have been a trap. And so, heaven intervened, not to harm you, but to keep you aligned with your true path. Do you recall Paul, who longed to preach the word in Asia, yet the Spirit of Jesus did not permit him? Acts 16:6-7 shows us that even apostles were redirected. Why? Because the timing was not right, the place was not prepared, and the mission was greater than Paul could see. Likewise, in your life, every closed door is not a punishment. It is proof that heaven is protecting your destiny. The third sign is the weight of compassion you carry. While others harden their hearts, you remain soft. While others overlook the hurting, your spirit aches for them. Even when you are broken, you still feel the call to heal others. Even when you are lonely, you still carry love for those who despised you. And though it seems unfair that you feel so deeply, understand this. Your compassion is not weakness. It is evidence of divine assignment. For how could you heal a world you do not weep for? How could you minister to wounds you have never felt? Your brokenness has become your training ground, so that you may carry healing oil for others. Look at Jesus, who wept at Lazarus's tomb, though he knew resurrection was moments away. He felt the pain before he performed the miracle, and so do you, chosen one. Your tears are not wasted, they are intercession. Your compassion is not ordinary, it is divine equipment. The fourth sign is the battle you face in your mind and spirit. Chosen ones are targeted by heavy warfare because the enemy fears what they carry. Have you ever noticed how the darkness seems to follow you? How spiritual attacks seem relentless? How heaviness clings to you when you are on the edge of breakthrough? That is not coincidence. It is confirmation. The enemy does not waste ammunition on those who pose no threat. The reason you face such opposition is because your destiny is dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. But chosen one, take courage. For every battle you face, heaven has already equipped you. The loneliness that taught you to pray, the brokenness that taught you to lean on God, the rejection that forced you into His arms, all of it was training for the war you were destined to win. This is why Ephesians 6 speaks of putting on the armor of God, because chosen ones cannot walk unprotected. You were never called to casual living. You were called to battle, to victory, to carrying the banner of light in a world that prefers the dark. And finally, the greatest lesson of all, chosen ones are lonely and broken because intimacy with God demands space. If your life were full of noise, if your heart were crowded with people, if your calendar were always overflowing, how could you hear the still, small voice? How could you learn the sacred rhythm of His presence? Loneliness empties you of distractions so that God may fill you with Himself. Brokenness shatters your false strength so that His strength may be perfected in you. The Apostle Paul declared in 2 Corinthians 12:9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And so, chosen one, your loneliness is the womb of encounter, and your brokenness is the canvas upon which His power is painted. Without the ache, you would not seek Him so deeply. Without the breaking, you would not lean on Him so fully. Without the rejection, you would not recognize how deeply you are loved by heaven. So when you see these signs in your life, the restless fire that will not be silenced, the closed doors that redirected you, the compassion that refuses to die, the warfare that presses against you, the intimacy born of loneliness, do not despise them. They are not curses, they are confirmations. They are heaven's signature upon your life, declaring, "You are chosen." Chosen ones, the revelations are clear now. Your loneliness is not emptiness, but invitation. Your brokenness is not punishment, but preparation. Your struggles are not meaningless, but prophetic. You have been set apart, marked by fire, destined for glory. Chosen ones, you have walked through valleys of shadows, through nights where silence was your only companion, through seasons where your heart broke in ways words could never capture. And yet, look at you. You are still here, you are still breathing, you are still standing, even when everything around you told you to fall. This alone is the evidence that heaven has not abandoned you. If the enemy could have destroyed you, he would have done it already. But he couldn't, because you are chosen. Hear me clearly now. The fact that you have survived what you went through is not ordinary. Ordinary people would have collapsed under the weight you carried. Ordinary souls would have lost their minds in the storms you endured. But you, though lonely, though broken, though wounded, have emerged with fire still flickering in your spirit. That fire is not your own. It is divine. It is the eternal reminder that God Himself has been carrying you. Lift your head now, chosen one. Do not see yourself as a victim of circumstances. Do not see your brokenness as weakness. See yourself as heaven sees you, a vessel of glory refined by fire, destined to shine in places others cannot reach. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, to bear the scars of survival as holy marks of your calling. The loneliness you felt was a shield. The brokenness you endured was a hammer, shaping you into someone unstoppable. When the psalmist declared, "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me," it was not poetry. It was prophecy. It was the anthem of every chosen one who knows the valley, but also knows the shepherd. And you, yes, you are living that scripture even now. You have walked through valleys. You have felt the shadow, but you did not stay there. You kept walking because something greater was pulling you forward. Chosen one, can you feel it even now, that pull, that stirring deep within you? It is the Spirit of God reminding you that your story is not over. Your loneliness was not the end. Your brokenness was not your identity. They were chapters, not conclusions. You are stepping into a new season where your scars will speak louder than your silence, where your tears will water the seeds of others' breakthroughs, where your very life will testify that God does not abandon His chosen. The enemy tried to break you, but in the breaking, you found God. The world tried to isolate you, but in the loneliness, you discovered intimacy with the one who never leaves. And now you rise, not as the person you once were, but as the vessel heaven always knew you would become. This is why you had to be lonely. This is why you had to be broken. Because only through the crushing does the oil flow. Only through the fire does the gold emerge pure. Only through the storm does the anchor prove its strength. Do not despise your journey, chosen one. Do not curse the nights you cried alone or the seasons where you felt shattered beyond repair. For it is written in Isaiah 61 that God will bestow on them a crown of beauty. Instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. That is your promise. That is your inheritance. Your ashes will become beauty. Your mourning will become joy. Your despair will become praise. Now let me declare this into your spirit. You are chosen for such a time as this. You are protected by a hand unseen, surrounded by angels you may never meet in the flesh, guided by whispers from heaven that your ears have begun to recognize. You are not weak. You are being made strong. You are not cursed. You are deeply favored. You are not forgotten. You are carved into the very palm of God's hand. And every tear you cried, every heartbreak you endured, every lonely night you survived, they are all becoming part of a divine story that will echo beyond your lifetime. Chosen one, rise. Rise from the ashes of yesterday. Rise from the lies spoken against you. Rise from the brokenness that tried to define you. You are more than what you lost. You are more than the pain. You are more than the loneliness. You are God's living prophecy in the earth, proof that light cannot be extinguished by darkness. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift. When you open your mouth, words carry weight. When you pray, angels are dispatched. This is not because of who you are in the natural, but because of who you are in the spirit. You have been authorized by heaven, and no demon, no rejection, no brokenness can strip that away. Listen carefully. Your life is not a mistake. Every broken place has been strategically allowed to prepare you for the mission you carry. Every lonely season has been sacred training ground for the intimacy you now walk in. You were broken to be rebuilt stronger. You were lonely to be filled with divine companionship. You were misunderstood to become a voice for those who have no voice. And now, chosen one, I bless your spirit with this truth. Your story is sacred. Your pain is holy. Your scars are testimonies. And your very existence is a sign to the world that heaven still intervenes in the affairs of men. Walk boldly now, because you are not walking alone. Heaven walks with you. The Spirit of God surrounds you. The blood of Jesus covers you. And no power of darkness can undo what has been written over your life. You have endured trials, yes. You have known sorrow, yes. But those very trials are your crown. That sorrow is your oil. That breaking is your anointing. You were not chosen to be crushed. You were chosen to be transformed. And the time of your rising is now. Chosen ones, now you can see it. Your loneliness was never emptiness, and your brokenness was never a curse. All along, heaven has been weaving your story into something far greater than you imagined. You were not overlooked. You were hidden. You were not abandoned. You were protected. You were not destroyed. You were refined. And now, the very things that once made you cry are becoming the very things that make you shine. Look back over your life for just a moment. Every time someone walked away, every time a door slammed shut, every time your heart shattered, did you not survive it? Did you not rise again, even when you thought you never would? This is the mark of the chosen, the ability to endure storms that should have destroyed you and yet emerge stronger, wiser, and more radiant than before. That strength is not your own, it is divine. It is the quiet hand of God lifting you up when you could no longer stand, the unseen embrace that carried you when you thought you were alone. And now I say this to you, you are no longer walking in darkness. You are no longer wandering without purpose. You are no longer defined by what you lost. You are stepping into a new awareness of who you are and whose you are. You are chosen. Not by chance, not by accident, but by design, by prophecy, by destiny. So when you feel the ache of loneliness rise again, remember this. It is not a void, but an invitation. When you feel the sting of brokenness, remember, it is not destruction, but transformation. And when you look at the scars of your past, do not despise them. Bless them, for they are proof that you have been carried through fire and not consumed, through water and not drowned. You are living prophecy. Your very survival is a sermon to those watching you, even if they never say it aloud. I bless you now with the courage to keep walking, with the wisdom to discern the divine in your delays, with the strength to embrace your calling without fear, and with the peace to know that heaven is not silent concerning you. Heaven is speaking and heaven is fighting on your behalf. You are surrounded by angels, guided by the Spirit, and written into the eternal story of redemption. Chosen ones, your mission is not small. That is why your breaking felt so heavy. That is why your loneliness was so deep. You were being prepared for something others could never carry. Do not compare your path to theirs. Do not envy their comfort, for you are being trained for kingdom. The mantle upon you requires disciplined faith and a soul that has learned to trust in the silence of God. And you, beloved, have been faithful. Even in tears, you kept walking. Even in rejection, you kept believing. Even in brokenness, you kept seeking. And for this, heaven honors you. Hear these words as if they were written directly to you. You are not alone. Not in the wilderness, not in the silence, not in the heartbreak. God has been with you every step, and now you stand on the edge of a new chapter. Step into it boldly. Walk into it knowing you are not cursed, but chosen. Not forgotten, but favored. Not broken beyond repair, but remade for glory. And now, chosen ones, I invite you to rise with me, not just in spirit, but in action. If this word has spoken to your heart, if you felt the fire stir within you as you listened, then I ask you to take a step of faith. Like this video as a declaration that you are chosen. Subscribe to this channel as a way of saying, I will keep walking in my calling, and comment below with your testimony. Share the moment where you felt most broken and how God carried you through. Share your loneliness so that others will know they are not alone. Your words may be the very confirmation someone else needs. Because this is not just a video, it is a gathering of chosen ones across nations, across generations, across stories. You are part of something bigger than yourself. Together we rise as proof that darkness cannot win, that loneliness cannot define us, and that brokenness cannot destroy what God has ordained. And let me leave you with this blessing. May your nights be filled with peace. May your mornings be filled with strength. And may your days be filled with reminders that you are divinely protected. May your scars become songs, may your tears become rivers of healing, and may your loneliness be transformed into encounters with the presence that never leaves. Chosen one, you have walked a hard road, but you have not walked it in vain. You are God's vessel, heaven's representative, a living prophecy in a world that desperately needs light. And I promise you this, the same God who brought you through will never abandon you now. Hold your head high. You are chosen. You are loved. You are victorious. And if this message has stirred you, stay with us, because the journey does not end here. Greater revelations are coming. Deeper truths will be revealed. And together we will continue to walk this sacred path. Until then, remember this, you are no longer walking alone. Heaven is walking with you.